So we are recording. We are in sunny Newport today. What a beautiful day it is. And I am here with
Keith McIntosh.
Keith, how are you doing?
No complaints.
What are we doing today?
We're going for a test drive in the beautiful 2017 Porsche Boxster.
So tell me a little bit about what you have your hands on the wheel.
One of the things we teach at the driving school and the racing school is always keep your hands at 3 and 9 on the steering wheel.
3 and 9. Has that changed throughout the years?
It hasn't for the people who build the steering wheels. They've always wanted people to have their hands here. That's why they've always put the controls at the fingertips for like radio and cruise control. But driver training teaches 10 and 2. But the people who build the steering wheels actually teach you 3 and 9. And we teach out at the racing school, because any vehicle, the more you turn the steering wheel, the less grip you get out of the front tires. So if your hands are at 10 and 2 or a 12-inch shifter like a lot of people, you're turning that steering wheel so much the front tires can't do their job. But by keeping your hands at 3 and 9, you'll turn this steering wheel very little going through the corners and get much more grip out of the front tires. Also, keeping your hands at 3 and 9 keep you clear of the airbag cover. Some people get injured by the airbag cover because their hands are high on the steering wheel. The airbag deploys, this plastic piece comes up and it throws their hands back towards their face.
Wow.
So that's why we teach 3 and 9 on the steering wheel, and that's why Porsche puts the shifter paddles here for upshifting and downshifting at 3 and 9 and not at 10 and 2, because that's where they want your hands to be.
Super. Well, we're gonna just sign off right now, and we're gonna come back. We're gonna learn a little bit about those paddles that you have your hands on too. Thank you so much. Speed up, and we're gonna learn a little bit about the PDK. PDK, what does that stand for?
That's German. It stands for Porsche Double Clutch. If you convert it to English, and basically what it means is 2 clutches. On most cars on an automatic transmission, there would be 1 clutch and 1 shaft. In the Porsche Double Clutch PDK, there's 2 shafts and there's 2 clutches. So basically, the gearbox is already pre-selected the next highest gear and the next lowest gear.
So what makes the PDK in the Porsche so unique? And can you get a manual nowadays anymore? Because it seems like every car doesn't have a manual, or people aren't really familiar on how to drive them anymore. Tell me a little bit about what Porsche has done and how they've stuck to their heritage and their racing heritage in particular.
Yeah, it's very true. A lot of car companies, either because the demand is so low or because of cost, have stopped making manual transmission cars. A lot of people say, you know, if I'm going to buy a sports car, I want to be able to change gears. That's part of one of the reasons I'm buying a sports car. And because Porsche is always big on our racing pedigree, we put the key on the left-hand side of the ignition or the steering column. We still put the tachometer in the middle of the car. We do still offer all of our sports cars in a manual transmission. For the people who don't or can't drive a manual transmission, then we offer something called the Porsche PDK transmission. And that's German, stands for Porsche Double Clutch. Basically what it means is in most automatic transmissions, you have a single shaft and a single clutch. And that's why when you accelerate hard, you get that hesitation as it changes up through the gears. Well, in the PDK, internally there's 2 shafts and there's 2 clutches. So it's already pre-selected your next highest gear and your next lowest gear. So as you're driving along, when either you or the car changes gears, the drop in RPMs is very low, which is great for performance and great for fuel economy. And that's why the PDK sets Porsche apart from other car manufacturers.
That's really cool. So tell us a little bit about the Porsche 718. Am I saying that correctly?
You are, yeah. 718, the Boxster and the 718 came in. Obviously, this is the Boxster 2017. And the big step for Porsche, not only in the 718, but also in our Porsche 911, is for 2017, their engines got smaller, but got more powerful, and now get better fuel economy. So that's a big step for Porsche. Turbo technology has come so far that Porsche is now comfortable putting it on both the Boxster, Cayman, and the 911 as a standard feature of the car. So this car is a 2-liter engine. This is the Porsche Boxster, so it has 300 horsepower. It has 2 turbos on it. And what Porsche did, so you don't get any turbo lag, is something very clever. Normally on cars in the old days, it had a turbo. When you'd accelerate hard, there'd be something called turbo lag. There'd be a delay before the turbo would actually spool up and give you all that amazing horsepower. So what Porsche's done with this new turbo system is now when you come off the gas pedal, it no longer sends fuel to the combustion chamber, but it still maintains pressure in the exhaust. So there's always pressure built up, so you don't get any turbo delay, which helps with fuel economy and helps with performance. And that's new for the 2017 Porsche Boxster.
Just as I looked down was this little dial. Tell me a little bit, what is that?
That's new for 2017, starting off with the 911 and the 718, is that's your Sport and your Sport Plus buttons. Because Porsche knows that people like to sometimes drive their cars in a more spirited manner, you can get something called Sport and a Sport Plus on your car. This is an option as it's a rotary dial on the steering wheel, new for 2017, and that's right out of our Porsche 918 supercar. If you don't get it as the rotary dial, then it's two buttons here in the middle console, Sport and Sport Plus. As you can appreciate, Sport Plus means you take it to one more level. And basically what it does is you can change that at any speed, go to Sport or Sport Plus as you're driving or you're sitting still. And that really changes the whole DNA of the car. The very first thing it'll do is when you go to Sport or Sport Plus is it changes the engine mapping. Instead of driving the car where you're getting really good fuel economy and the suspension is relatively soft, the Sport and the Sport Plus will change the engine mapping. So the engine will immediately start shifting for performance to get that maximum capability, the reason that people buy Porsches. It also starts adjusting the suspension. It makes it stiffer. That makes the car handle better going through the corner. The gas pedal in the car is fly-by-wire. That means there's no cable. It's a signal that goes from the gas pedal back to the engine. By going to Sport or Sport Plus, it makes the gas pedal more responsive. The steering wheel is electromagnetic. That means it's sending a signal from the steering wheel to the steering mechanism. So as you're driving, it adjusts itself, which is great for performance and for fuel economy. So when you go to Sport or Sport Plus, it makes the steering wheel more responsive as well. And all those combined make the car handle more like a sports car. There's also a lever, or one of the selections, that's I. That's individual. So as you're sitting still, you can go through the menu and you can select what you want the car to do while you're driving it. And that's new for 2017.
So I will add, as we come to a conclusion on this test drive, that you are a race car driver. You know what you're doing.
Well, I hope so. To be an instructor for Porsche, it's very important to the company that you have some sort of a racing background because Porsche is so big on their racing heritage and their racing pedigree. So I used to race Formula cars in Canada.
Wonderful. That's great. And I like that you said Porsche.
That's right. It's two syllables. It's not Porsche. That's what you have in the front of your house. It's Porsche because it's a family's name. So it's two syllables. You pronounce the E.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This has been really exciting.
You're so welcome.